Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about Needles Highway and Iron Mountain Road since we just came back from Sturgis. But uh, actually, Patty's going to talk to you about it on a woman's perspective, because us men we like riding up there, and we're used to more aggressive in the corners than a lot of women are. But there are some aggressive women riders that maybe for a new rider for women or somebody that's been riding for a while that would like to know what a woman's perspective is that's never been up there. So hopefully this will shed some light on it. And but Patty's going to be doing most of the talking about this because obviously she's a woman. So anyway, so how long? Tell everybody how long you've been riding.
Okay, I've been riding about 21 years on and off. I've rode anything from a Harley to a Yamaha and then now my Indian. First time I went up to Sturgis, we went up to Sturgis. I rode two up with him and beautiful scenery. I'm like, yeah, I can do this because had heard that Iron Mountain Road and Needles Highway was very experienced rider kind of deal, so I just rode two up with him. I found with Iron Mountain that it was very, I was intimidated at first, but once I got on there, I started to lean into the corners. I wasn't able to see all the view because of the skill level of that ride due to some of the switchbacks and the curves and stuff. But it was easily maneuverable.
Maneuverable.
It wasn't above my skill level. Even the last time we went, I still feel that it's definitely not a beginner's level, but you have a few years under you, you should be able to navigate it. Now, Needles Highway is a little different. That is a little bit more of an experienced level. There is a 5 mile an hour curve that you definitely want to make sure that you're doing 5 mile an hour, and you want to make sure that there's no bikes in front of you. You have a clear path to get totally around that curve. If not, that one could give you trouble.
Yeah, and a lot of people, one thing you got to really know, or even being a new rider, even an experienced rider, always look through your corner, especially these switchbacks, tight as they are, because they lean so much to one side. If you get in the middle of one, you have to stop. There's a good chance it's possible you could drop your bike on the low side because it's so far down there to put your foot down. And
that wouldn't be a good deal.
No, and we talked about this, and from the first time we went, because like I said, we did Needles Highway and Iron Mountain 2 up, and I think that helped her out a little bit, kind of knowing what she was looking for. But one thing too, and I'll have her explain too, is make sure, yes, there's going to be other experienced riders behind you, but don't override your ride.
No.
I actually, on this ride, we had a guy that was trying to push her, and she was behind me, of course, and I seen it happening, and finally I pulled over kind of to one side of the lane on the right track and motioned for her to come in front of me, because that way I would hold the person back and I wasn't going to let them push her down through the Iron Mountain Road where we was going at that point. But yeah, and if you are an experienced rider behind somebody that looks like they're not as skilled as you are, give them a little bit of room, give them a little bit of slack, because we don't want to see anybody get hurt. But
that wasn't intimidating as much as when he got right beside me, and then I thought he was going to pass me between me and you. That's where I felt like I was uncomfortable. But other than that, I wasn't too uncomfortable with that, because I knew that would happen.
And most people are pretty considerate, especially if they can tell if it's a husband and wife or you're together. But you always get that one person or one or two people, and you're up there with 400,000 or 500,000 people, so you can't expect everybody to be courteous. You just hope they are. Mm-hmm. But now, since you've done the needles and stuff, would you go back and do it again?
Yes. On both of them, I wish we would have had more time to do the reverse way. Mm-hmm. Since we went through down the mountain for Iron Mountain, or is it Iron? Yeah, Iron Mountain
Road.
Iron Mountain Road. We stopped at the little store down there. I was ready to go back up the mountain, but it was raining.
Yeah, we ended up putting our rain gear on.
Yep.
And she's not the Patty does not like to ride like when it's a downpour. You know, the road's a little wet, it ain't too bad. But so we opted to go ahead, and I think that's the day we went to eat afterwards. Mm-hmm. Went to Powder House and had dinner there before we went back to camp.
Which, by the way, is good.
Yeah, the Powder House is a good place to eat. If you're up around that way, up by Mount Rushmore and Keystone and down in there, that is a good place to eat. Highly recommended.
Yep.
Is there anything else that you want to tell anybody that rides that and maybe help another female rider out?
Just take your time. Ride your own ride. Don't get in a hurry, and just make sure that you're safe going around those corners.
Yeah. And like I said, you know, don't be intimidated by them. Just know your skill level and do it at your pace. Don't if somebody is pushing you behind you, just let them go around you.
Yep.
There's plenty of places to kind of move over and let them people go around you. Because you know, everybody wants to make it home without wrecking or even worse, getting a real bad accident. And but yeah, it's always a nice place up there. It's pretty, but if you're not riding too up, the person on the back, like this time, she didn't get to watch all the pretty views up and down through there. So there is pullover stops. Make sure you pull over, mm-hmm. Enjoy the views, get your photos or videos, whatever you want to do. We did get some video of her riding because I put her in front of me and I had the camera on my bike. We're going to try to put some of that in this video so you guys can see it, kind of see how she was doing riding up Needles. And all right, this is where she's riding up here, and that's what we're talking about, stopping before the corner, because she has seen that there is people above that corner, and so she wanted to play it safe because she really didn't know how steep this corner was. But you really can't tell in the video as you get up here where we stop again that that corner was pretty steep right there. It's not like terrible like some of the others, but still, if you'd have stopped right in the middle of it, it'll give you a pretty low step down on your right side on your motorcycle on your low side. So that's the reason why she stopped back where she did. You can kind of tell how far her foot down was right there, because normally she stands flat-footed on her motorcycle. Okay, now as we're getting up close to the tunnel up here, it's moving pretty quickly. We did have to do a little bit of wait, but that's normal with however many people is up here riding. But yeah, she's waiting to get her turn to go through the tunnel. It was a nice day. Everybody's out riding. It finally wasn't raining that day, or at least at this point. It was later on. And it was kind of cool to have a Star Wars character up here up by the tunnel. And of course, just like any motorcycle rider, get in the tunnel, she likes to crack the throttle a little bit, which I didn't have no audio of this, but I'm assuring you that she was twisting the throttle inside that tunnel. yeah, she goes up here. It's a beautiful sight, but I talked to her later, and she's like, "Well, I didn't get to see a whole lot of it due to uh, her concentrating on the road." So, but that's just kind of part of the riding part. You can uh, see a little bit, but you still have to concentrate on what you're doing. But here's one of the pull-offs. Of course, you can stop and get do some picture taking and seeing the view over it, or even getting you some video. She does come up here, and there's a second pullover, which we pulled over here the last time we was up here. So she was looking forward to stopping up here. And this is where there was another Indian lady rider. We didn't know it at the time, but when she pulled up there, they started talking and found out they both rode Indians. And uh, I ride a Harley, and so did her husband. So it's kind of a unique deal that we both or found a couple that they's like us. One rode a Harley and one rode a Indian. And this is a beautiful place to stop. Um, right here, nice overlook. Get to see the pretty rocks over. But anyway, but hopefully this will help out the female riders, and hopefully you get more of them up there riding on the Needles Highway. We did meet another woman that was up there on an Indian, where we stopped there at Needles Highway, and but hopefully more women will get in and ride and not be so intimidated. We did have some friends that go up there, and there was a lady with them, and they rode it, and she enjoyed it after she got done. So, but we're going to kind of end that right here, I think, unless you got anything else to add to it.
Everything.
So, if you like what we're doing, please subscribe, give a thumbs up, and ring the bell if you want more notifications of what we're doing when we first put more videos out. And keep the rubber side down
And the shiny side up.